Thanks for being here. This is the third episode of My Two Bits, and I'm excited to start talking about some of the things I have prepared for everybody. We'll kind of get into it. For those of you that don't know me, I am a content creator for Wilder World, Zero Tech, and Meow Chain. I just do educational videos. I'm not a shiller or a hyper, even though I have a lot of passion. I get really excited about a lot of the things, and I do have my own opinions about everything, but I do try to keep it as educational and understand all sides. A free and easy way to support me is go to my YouTube at BelshiBits and subscribe, and or go to my X account and follow me there. I share things on a regular basis on my insights of what's going on around Wilder World and the things happening. So stay up to date if you're interested in everything that's going on and want kind of a different take than what the team is releasing. I would appreciate your support. Something else that I like to do during my show is do a highlight of a community member that I notice is just doing something a little special. And I felt like this last month, Guava had released some pretty incredible threads. And he did a great job, something that he hasn't really done all the time. And so I really enjoyed his kind of outlook and appreciated kind of his voice when it came to the things that are happening. So if you want to show him some love, you can go over to, it looks like at GuavaJ8, and give him a little bit of love. I feel like your guys' opinion is really important too, and that your voices are heard. Please unmute your mic and share any thoughts. Stop me in my tracks if you want to, but I would love to hear your voice. I'll be asking some questions throughout, and I hope that you guys will join in on the conversation. We're going to have 3 parts today. The first part, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about the recent events and the impact that it's kind of having on Wilder World and the kind of eyeballs from professionals that are excited about what Wilder World is doing and are now vocalizing their opinions about it. And so recently, there was a video that was released by the team, which I felt was one of the best pieces of content that they've released. And the reason why I feel that way is because there was a lot of different professionals in different degrees. If some of them came from gaming, some of them came from different networks, some of them came from exchanges, and they were speaking. They were able to get this like demo from the team. I believe the demo was in both Tokyo and Singapore. And so they were able to have these conversations with them while people have had a real interaction with the product of Wilder World. And I think that's a really important kind of point, because the reason being is we can always talk about theory. And we can always talk about what they are going to do. What's nice to hear now is what they have done and what they are currently doing and how they're expanding on that. So some of the things, some of the comments that were made that I really enjoyed is like this first one talked about how Wilder World is about to change how the economics has ever been operated within kind of a metaverse space. And I think that's really cool to hear from outsiders instead of those of us that kind of pay attention on a daily basis of what's happening to Wilder World, those of us that are a little bit more involved and passionate. For those that maybe are getting like a first interaction with Wilder World, to hear that they feel like the economics are going to change how things have been operated, that's a really kind of positive take, I believe. They go on to talk about how the open world is scales and scales above anything that you've ever seen before. So again, in theory, they talked about how it's 13.5 times larger than Grand Theft Auto 5. We can imagine that, right? Now people are able to go into Wilder World, see what the procedural team and the world creation teams have been doing, and kind of get that like in-depth feel of how expansive it is and how large it really is. And so that's really encouraging to kind of hear from them how they were impressed by that scale. Another comment was that they were impressed with the leadership team. I have always been a fan of the leadership team and the team as a whole. It's one of the things that have really gotten me to really invest in Wilder World as much as I have, because I really believe that anyone can hype, but sometimes for those individuals that take accountability, those that look for solutions and really care about the product and the community and the other team members, I really feel like that is a team that we should be getting behind, and we can trust that they're going to do the things that they say they're going to do. So I'm glad that outsiders are starting to be impressed with the leadership as well. And I hope it just continues to be that way. The next comment was that they felt like it was a great angle that the team was creating game modes alongside creating that open world. And they felt like that was a great approach to how the team was operating and creating things. And so I know we all have been impressed, and we all look at it as like sometimes individual things, but it is all one inclusive kind of product from the team where people are going to be able to come in and maybe they just enjoy the open world, but then they're going to be able to jump into like a first person or the first or third person shooter game, as well as like the race car driving game. I imagine later on there's going to be like quests. We have the mining game coming. And so all of these things that interconnect kind of just is a way to bring people in, because some people, like the word metaverse, it's kind of burnt them out, right? They just don't care, or they think about something like Meta, or they think about Decentraland, or they think about Sandbox, Decentraland, or like the two Meta have been talking, even though they don't really have a product. Yuga Labs with the other side, they said they were going to create this amazing thing. We haven't seen anything from them. I really do feel like the approach that Wilder World is doing in releasing actual products is also a really positive approach. So it was nice hearing that from other people. You had another individual talk about that it's so clean and so professional, like you're playing a familiar video game. And I think that was a great comment, because we may be passionate about Web3 and talk about Web3 gaming, and we're here all the time. Without the massive, market of Web2 and bringing them over, we're not going to be able to have the experience that we all want. We want a full metaverse. We want people running around. We want to be able to get in and be able to get in on a game without having to wait that long. And the only way to do that is if you have a large player base and daily active users that make it that way. We really do need to make it where it's familiar to others, and there's like a much easier barrier to entry. They say that it's going to be a smash hit, that it's massive, incredible, that they're excited to help get the message out with what the team has been building. I think that's awesome. I think there's a lot of people that are keeping an eye on the project, but they just don't feel like the product is polished enough, and so they haven't really like the pedal to the metal to like really share their opinions and share their thoughts. They're waiting for a little bit more of a polished product, but you can see that they're still excited. Something I think about is the recent release Off the Grid, right? Like I've been keeping an eye on Off Grid. I've felt like for a while that they've been doing something different in a way of like, this is like a good way. This looks like a good product. The way that they're integrating Web3 into it looks like a really positive approach. And they just now released their open beta, and it's just taken off. I mean, you have really large Web2 streamers enjoying the game, giving their feedback, and really giving good feedback on what they're experiencing and some of the new mechanics that they're experiencing in it. So I think we should all be celebrating other games that are helping bring more people into the market, because once they're here, they're probably going to be more prone to kind of look around. Another individual talked about understanding that it's important that they enjoyed the fact that the team understands having like a long-term mindset for the project, that it's not just a pump and dump, that they're really thinking about the longevity of the project. They really felt like it was fantastic. Others feel like there's a lot of attention to detail. Some of the gamers were saying that Rebellion looks really, really clean. We are really on the precipice of something really great. And we're going to talk a little bit more about like what the team has been saying since they've been back from Singapore and the Gamers Conference in Tokyo. When you couple what the team is saying and what some of the other professionals are saying, I think when they come back from each one of these events, they just get more and more excited about what they're building, right? Like they're more and more encouraged about what they're doing, what they've built, probably getting feedback of how they can improve. I personally was really excited to like hear it from them, right? We're often in Twitter and we can read some of the posts, but to hear them talk about it, to hear that they were playing it, I just think that kind of approach to giving that feedback was really important for the team to start taking those next levels moving forward. The second part is I wanted to talk about what Wilder World has been cooking. There's some key bits that I wanted to kind of bring up as of late from what the team has been talking about since they've gotten back from their events. I felt like there's some really key information to get us pretty excited, which I think every time the team speaks, we get pretty excited. At least that's how it is for me. But here's a few tweets from Neo and Frank. This first one was a quote tweet from Vader. I don't know if any of you read this post from Vader, but he basically goes in to talk about like the state of the market, like where the meme coins rank in the full market cap of all the projects, where the gaming tokens fall within the whole market, and how they feel like a lot of it is kind of these pump and dump schemes. There's nothing really behind it, but yet they're eating up a ton of this like liquidity. And Neo comes in to talk about, and he says there's a lot about this that is right. The good news is that the teams who actually build good products will have something when everything else collapses and sucks up all of the liquidity. We shall call this the GameFi milkshake event horizon, which I thought was pretty funny. That just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I'm pretty sure that what he's saying is there's going to be a time when everything gets shaken up, and when all is said and done, the projects that are actually have quality product will end up eating up the vast majority of the liquidity. And so that's why they keep just focusing on building good product. Another one, Frank released a post, I meant to say a poll, talking about what we were most excited about. Is it land? Was it rebellion? What is it that we're most excited about? And it looks like a vast majority. I mean, there was only 188 votes, which always surprises me with how many people follow Wilder World, that there was only 188 votes. But nonetheless, it looked like a good 66% of who voted said land. And I think a lot of that has to do with the economic, the value, something that people have been waiting on. I think individuals are really wanting to see a actual successful land drop that is done right, that is integrated within the project well, and continues to have the value that people kind of naturally put towards land. In the past, it was pretty big hype thing back in the last market, and so doing it now, I feel like Wilder World is one of the first to kind of release land this next market, this next cycle around. And so I feel like if we do it right, there's going to be some great innovation in other projects going forward, and the way that it's like that it's combined with the economy is a really important point. To like, those two things are kind of mutually exclusive in the way, or inclusive, given the way that they've been talking about it, as well as mining. Like, all of these things are interconnected, and then there's going to be things that are connected to that, and then it's like this whole ripple effect from land of how it's going to bring next level of participation within it. There's that sense of ownership, right? There's things that are owned by the team, and then there's things that are owned by the community, and we can call it our place. And as things are developed and people are going around, they're going to see how we've put a mark on the world, the Wilder World. So I agree with you. Going on to this next tweet from Neo, he says, "We have a lot that is going to cook between now and the end of the year. Please be patient while we put it all together. If we can pull it off, it will be insane." I love that. I don't think anyone is going to disagree that if they've been cooking, that if it gets pulled off, that it's going to be insane. And I believe it. Like, I believe that the team has some great connections. They're making even more connections as they go to these events. they're making even more connections as people get a deeper look underneath the hood and start to see what the team has been doing. We should be really excited about the things that are coming forward. I can't wait. We at the beginning of the year, we got the roadmap and Operations Domino. Act 1 was just absolutely insane. There has felt like there's a little bit more of some of these lows in between, but the things that they end up releasing after the lows are immensely impactful on the project. For instance, land being one of them, as well as their announcement of Rebellion, as well as their announcements of they're going to be releasing another version of Midnight in Miami. And not only that, they're working towards avatars and the open world and mining. So there's just so much happening behind the scenes that it's almost like they can't release one without releasing more information about the other. And so because of that, they have to kind of, there's longer lulls in information that ends up getting released because they have to make sure all these other things are right. Hence the reason why they're not releasing Devlog 12 quite yet, because they wanted to make sure that the information in there was correct. And then moving on to one of my favorites. Wes Wilder informed me. I went through a period of time at the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, that I kind of was dealing with some personal things. So there were some things that I missed, and I realized one day that I missed Operation Bridgepoint. And I was like, what the heck is Operation Bridgepoint? And our good friend Wes Wilder was kind enough to fill me in, give me some of this information. And I was blown away because this really gave us a look into the big picture of what the team was doing in order to get the project out there and have this economic value. Neo recently said, anyone remember Operation Bridgepoint? Well, we've been working on it for a couple of years now, and it's going to roll out soon. We'll help with liquidity, volume, and exchange listings right as we roll out the L2 Metropolis, mining, and land. And the really cool thing about this is that coming up very soon, any day now, we're going to be getting, I would imagine, in Devlog 12, we're going to be getting much more detail for Layer 2, which is Meow Chain, Metropolis, mining, and land. But here they're kind of letting us know, like, well, that's not it. Once these things release, it sets up the stage for us to be able to progress further with Operation Bridgepoint, which is focusing on this liquidity, volume, and exchange listings, which anyone that's invested in Wilder World is extremely excited for this to become a reality. And so I kind of zoomed in. I'm not going to go into like very specific details because this is extremely, you have to take it with a huge boulder-sized grain of salt. But what we can get is a little bit of a look into how the team is organizing their efforts in order to bring to pass the reality of the economy, the project, alliances, and a whole bunch of different things. So here we see that we're going to be getting an updated website. We've kind of already seen sneak peeks of that with the Wilder World Metaverse Marketplace. We've seen it with the Odyssey. We can see that's kind of part of the new website. We also know that we're going to be getting released mining, which is going to be browser-based. And so we already know that there's going to be things attached to this. We've already seen hints, and this is like that reassurance. Like, okay, yeah, they've been planning on this for a couple of years. They've been organized, having specific teams kind of working on these things as they went on. Another thing that we know is that they have a goal to grow their followers and make sure that the word gets out. We've seen this with the Odyssey. As we can see that they want to have like more spaces. They want to have things to do with the DAO. It looks like Wilder Fam. I mean, I'm not going to go in each one of these things, but we already see these efforts being made. The Wilder World community leadership team has been doing an incredible job. You know, I'm a part of that by doing one of these events. We've seen other events that have come out. You know, PIMS have done a great job for a long time. We've got the Monday Hangout that Shani has been doing. since the beginning when it comes to community-led events. I mean, there's more. There's the blockchain one, and I think Gaio's coming out with another one. So, and then we have the racing. I mean, I could go on and on and on. We can see that there has been a huge effort in growing followers and getting more eyes here and kind of helping out with the things that are going on. We can see here their efforts with token circulation, that they're hoping to help with getting the token out there, circulating it in different ways, which is always a positive thing that we love to see. Other parts of Operation Bridgepoint, I think this page is like what most people are excited about. You know, we have, you know, exchange listings. We can see some of these businesses that they've been kind of working on to build relationships with. I'm sure there's actually some that are off this list, others that are on it, but they've been really working hard to try to meet the demands of the, you know, the exchanges so that they can get Wild and Meow listed and out there. So another one is, you know, a market makers. So that's really important. You have the Well, which is another project that's going to be released on Zero, as well as some other things for market makers. You've got their alliances. What I love over here is we can see this one with Polygon, which we know they have aligned with Polygon in order to help create Meow Chain. As well as a lot of the other alliances that we've already talked about. You've got Metagravity, you've got Superverse, you've got Celestia, you've got Epic Games, and other things in order to do it. Yeah, and then you have some of these other ones that I'm sure a lot of these have kind of shuffled and mixed up. That's why I don't want to give a lot of attention to some of the details, but it kind of helps us have a better understanding how things are going. We have Wild Utility, which is something that a lot of people obviously would be excited about since they have invested in it. So here that we can kind of see, you have Metropolis version 2, which we know is going to be released in more detail here very soon. You've got Midnight in Wyoming and the racing utility, which we know about Fuel and NOS and all the other things. You've got Wild ID, and a multiple of my previous or most recent videos that I've been releasing, I've been talking about Passport and Wild ID and how important that's going to be to the identity and full use across all the network. You've got DAO, you've got it looks like here Launch the Wilder DAO. You've got things like the industry staking and other things that are going to bring some Wild utility. You've got Play to Earn. You've also got, you know, just other things that are going to be coming down the track. So there's already been added to this list. And then you got rewards. So you have like the Trinity Wild airdrop, which we've been working on the Odyssey, as well as, you know, like the mission pool and the keepers pool, which has to go along with the Trinity Wild airdrop, and then other things that come in with here. Oh, here it shows wheel staking on this one. Casey asked, you know, Passport ? Is that different than Zero ID? There is a slight difference. The website would be able to explain it a little bit better, but Zero ID is like one portion of like your identification on Meow Chain, and Passport is this overall collectiveness of your identity, as well as like a wallet and other things that are kind of connected. All like other protocols that are going to be connected in, and they're going to use it as the passport. And so forth. So we already see some of these rewards have already been released. The Odyssey was kind of a jump start to these parts of the Odyssey. And so, you know, we're going to go into part 3, something I thought would be really fun, which is a lot more interactive. So maybe it's me and Dizzy that's going to be doing it, but I love other people's opinion. Everyone loves a good ranking. People look at the ranking like content that goes out there, and I want to kind of switch it up. A lot of people do it like what coin's going to do the best, what's God tier, what are all these types of things. I kind of wanted to talk about the impact, what people feel are the impact, what's going to have the greatest impact on Wilder World as they start getting released, because we have a lot of really awesome things for us to look forward to. Here at the bottom, you know, I I kind of listed things out: extreme impact, high impact, mild impact, low impact, and no impact at all. And then I have things down here on the bottom that's like Meow Chain, the updating of the Wilder Wheels, Passport, Zero Messenger 2.0 being released, the exchange listings, the land titles, mining, staking, and all the other things. There's other things as we'll go along. And I would love for all of us to like kind of help what they feel is going to have, where like each one of these things will land as far as the impact. And if you don't want to talk, that's okay. Please put it in Messenger where you feel. But I kind of want to start with, since it's going to be kind of released, and since we're just talking about it, we're going to do it right. We're going to talk about open world. Where do we feel open world is going to land as far as the impact it has on Wilder World? People that will bring people to the space, that will bring eyes to the space. What of these things will have the greatest impact? So with open world, where do people feel? Do they feel that it's an extreme impact, high impact? Put it in the chat. Let me know. I think as far as bringing people in, it is kind of a mild impact. I think as far as the collective vision of what Wilder World is, it has a much higher impact on the actual game, because it's what's going to inspire individuals. It's going to be that space that people just enjoy running around and having a good time and spending time with friends in a more relaxed kind of chill way. But I think you're right. I think as far as like actually bringing people in, we'll kind of put it in mild impact, and maybe we'll shift these around as we get some of the things out. But let's talk about maybe something a little bit more fun. What about land title? What kind of impact do we feel like this is going to have as it pertains to bringing people to Wilder World? Personally, I feel like we've kind of seen it. I don't think we've seen a lot of people come in. Again, I think the people that were already invested and had Trinities had it. So as far as Genesis Land 1, I think it has kind of a mild impact on bringing people in, but I do believe that it will over time increase on the impact that it has, just because it's like that interactive ability with the economy and building things and building your buildings and kind of making your mark within a metaverse. I think land will kind of start off as like people holding their breath, and then as more information and more individuals kind of play around and kind of stream about it and talk about it, the more that impact will end up having. What about Rebellion? We just saw Off the Grid go on. Where do people think Rebellion is gonna go? I think it'll have a high impact. If it's done right, I think it could be one of the biggest draws currently to the project. Just because it's a more popular genre of gaming, and if done right, they'll see the potential of what it can become, and so a lot of people are going to be coming via that way to kind of check things out. What about we just talked about passports and zero IDs? Do we feel like that's going to have any type of impact on individuals? What will bring them in? I don't think as far as bringing it in, but what do you guys think about as far as impact on completing the vision that the team has for everything? They talk a lot about sovereignty and self-ownership and all the things that come along with Web3 and whatnot. And Passport and Zero ID are kind of those things to help protect you, as well as almost proof of identity, because you have the wallet, you have these things, and it will keep you from the whole being scammed and the bots, and you'll be able to know who's who via these things, where bots, they're not going to go through the lengths that most people will in order to really finalize their ID. So I think as far as bring people in, it is a low to no impact, but I do think overall it's going to be one of those features that becomes really important for a low friction. I mean, it was just mentioned here that important for onboarding, having low friction. So it's almost like adding to the experience of those that will be coming in. So I really like that comment, because that is how I feel. What about exchanges? Low or high? Higher or extreme impact do we think the exchanges? I feel like if we do all the things that we're supposed to do to get on there, like if we start doing all the things that Neo's talking about of what they're trying to do in order to get listed on the exchanges, if we get listed, obviously if we get listed on Binance, if we get listed on Coinbase, I think that kind of is one of those moments that kind of marks you as a legitimate project. I think if we're able to do that, all the people that have kind of been on the sidelines, I think they'll flood in. I think it could have an extreme impact of people not only to invest within Wilder World, but also see what Wilder World is doing as far as not just token product, but product. What about the Wilder Wills like upgrade? I'm kind of feeling like it's not going to have an impact. I think the people that are already owning will enjoy it, but I think it's going to be a low impact to no impact on the project. Something that I do feel like may have a low impact because we already see it is Zero Messenger. Zero Messenger, it was released. I know a lot of people were grinding because you were able to make money every day, which they're going to continue to do. A recent release from Neo and Zero, you can see that there's going to be tipping in Meow, which could help grow communities, at least communities that are already familiar with Zero Messenger. Maybe they'll be able to put some more effort into kind of those areas and supporting, small projects. And so, though I don't think it's going to have this huge impact, I think it's going to have a low impact, and as they develop it, that impact will grow because it's going to be integrated into all the other things, and it's going to feel like a very seamless transition between a lot of these different protocols. But I do feel like it's going to have some of an impact. What about avatars? How many of you guys are excited about avatars, and do you think that's going to be something that helps bring more people into the space? I think it's going to be a medium impact too at first, unless some really good content is created around people creating their avatars and then it going into the open world, right? I think it's going to be based around, can we get any of the content to kind of go viral in a way, right? Like where you've got some people coming in, they really like what they see. Maybe some of these KOLs or these other influencers come in. Maybe just with what we've seen from Frank, if you're able straight off with that, what is it? It's like Face Link or whatever it is, where you're going to be able to basically, as you talk, your avatar looks like it's talking, and utilize it and create content in some of those ways. I think it'll have a greater impact, but I'm with you, Dizzy. I think for now it's a mild impact. What about mining? How do we feel mining is going to impact other people? You think the possibilities of getting resources and stuff will bring any new blood into the market? No, I think that's a great point. I think it's that connection of real use, almost gamifying the game, which, I mean, right now we have gambling, right? This is like a different form of creating a market with the resources in order to utilize something. I think the connection of gambling on, it's not really gambling, but like speculating on a market and then creating an actual building and seeing that building made, and then people are able to go and see what was created and what was done. I think there's going to be this snowball effect of the economy as people start to, just a lot of people don't have an imagination. And so they kind of have to see it done. That's why markets go parabolic, because they don't know. And then all of a sudden people are just making these decisions and they just jump in because they're afraid they're going to like miss out because they were hesitating. And then you've got ones that are innovators and they just kind of take that risk and they kind of pave the road. And I think mining will be one of those things that pave the road and will help bring people in because they'll see a new opportunity to speculate on a different type of market, especially if it's done right. We've got the metaverse, the Wilder World metaverse marketplace. Do we feel like having our own marketplace is going to have any type of impact to help bring other eyes to the project? I'm kind of thinking that it's going to have a low impact at first. I know I've heard from some people that they're not too excited of the mandatory royalties and different things. But I think, you know what? Actually, I think it's more of like a mild, because once resources are out, I believe this is going to be the only place we're going to be able to trade different resources, I think it's going to be incentivized for the best place for buying and selling. I'm sure it's going to be a safer place for individuals to be able to trade. And so I think it'll kind of start getting replaced, especially by users within the community. But then I think they're going to connect it with, obviously we know with like the super token. And so individuals are going to come in and they're going to utilize it more, especially if it's done right and it's incentivized in a way where people use this instead of a well-known thing like OpenSea and all the other ones that people use. Then we have staking. Right now, I think there's a lot of individuals, there's a lot of incentive. There's triple rewards when it went supercharged. I've been a fan of of liquidity staking and farming for a really long time. I believe maybe from here forward has a low impact, but I think it's had a high impact over a period of time. I believe that wild staking, especially if you start bringing in industry staking in with this conversation, I think staking overall has had and will continue to have a high impact on individuals, especially those that like the Web3 space and the underlining behind the scenes types of things that people are able to work on. And then the overall economy, that's what this one represents. I think the overall economy, once people understand what the economy is going to have an extreme impact on bringing eyes to the space. You're going to have the kind of Web3 larger exchanges that are going to bring people here, and then they're going to look deeper into Wilder World, and they're going to see the economy and the ability that they have in order to interact and have these great experiences with the economy. And so I think the economy overall is going to have a huge, extreme impact on the long-term value of helping bring people to take a look at Wilder World. And then here is Meow Chain. Meow Chain, I feel like, has been a complete underdog in so many ways. When I think about Meow Chain, I think about everything that it's going to be connected to. I feel like I have to put it up in the extreme impact. I've been doing some studying on Meow Chain. I've been trying to get some answers from the team. They've been really busy over the last few weeks. But the more I think about Meow Chain, the more I realize how so much of all of the things we've just discussed has to happen because of Meow Chain. And so it may not be directly impactful as far as, oh, look at this awesome network, I'm going to go join this community because of this network. Though I think there are going to be a number of individuals that do that. What I think Meow Chain is going to do as far as the impact are creating a lot less friction on onboarding, creating a better experience in utilizing different UIs, a better experience in a marketplace and trades, and instead of it being Ethereum, which is high cost, hopefully it becomes quicker and free when it comes to the gasless transactions that we're going to be able to have. And so I really do feel like Meow Chain is going to have an extreme impact. It may not show with the Meow token or anything like that, but if Meow Chain is doing its job right, no one's going to know that Meow Chain is there. Things are going to be so seamless, things are going to function well, things are going to go really well, and I think Meow Chain is just going to be an incredible tool that the team ends up using to realize the larger vision that they've had from the beginning. I know that Meow Chain and Zero are Neo's babies, and he has put a lot of work into it. I think that Meow Chain is just going to be one of those huge, impactful products that the team releases, and it's here soon. And so I'm really excited about it. But we're gonna end there. I appreciate you guys coming today. We have a lot to look forward to in these last few weeks. Few months, but in the next couple weeks, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of announcements of things that we can expect. And once again, I think these last few months, we're going to really have like Christmas early, repetitively, over and over and over again. There's things to look forward to. There's things that we can already appreciate. There's more buzz about Wilder World happening because of what the team has been doing in the events. And I think there's a lot that we can be appreciative of. The community-led events that we've been doing has been doing a great job in bringing people in to take a look at what Midnight in Miami is, what Rebellion's going to be, and kind of getting a first interaction within the community. So I think we have a stellar community, we have a stellar team, and there's just so much for us to be excited about and just be paying attention to. And I think now is the most important time to be paying attention if you really want to benefit from the impacts that are going to be coming down the line, because most of these things are either being organized, already organized, or ready to be released. You can see that the team has not stopped. They have been doing everything they possibly can in order to fulfill the vision that they promised the community. And not only that, but to build on top of it time and time again. And we see that with new versions of Midnight in Miami coming out and the different innovations and technologies that are going to be released. I love these projects. I'm so hyped for everything. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to hear my different points. Dizzy, thank you so much for being another voice in the community and being here. And I appreciate everyone in the comments that took the time to interact and be a part of it. Thank you all. We're going to end here. Make sure you go and follow me on YouTube and on X. I would really appreciate it. Free and easy way to support Belshie Bits. Thank you.